You're gonna see this. We're gonna use this. You're gonna learn how to put together a promo vid of just like things spinning. So we got a thing spinning. Yeah, I know. I put that like earthquake. So your materials. No, it's not gonna be for the walkie. It'll be for your mythic weapon. So it's just spinning. Now here's a really cool thing. I actually didn't even render this out. I didn't do any of this stuff. So all I ended up doing is I cheated, and you all have access to download OBS. But if you go, and I know you don't want to look at this walkie-talkie ever again, but if I look at this thing inside of my models, now this means you got to make sure you still have that 1 credit left to upload. So make sure you get your walkies in on that, because like for, I think, free versions, I think you only have 1 credit for students. I don't know, Griffin, Bella, I don't know, like, did it tell you how many credits you guys had when you uploaded the walkie, Griffin? Oh, because you had other stuff you were uploading? Oh, okay. Because another oh, was there a polygon count or something? Oh, okay. So what we could also do is, for now, if you need to make another account with another email address, this is all. The only reason why I'm saying that for now is because if we go into embed under here, and I think we all have access to this. Watch this. If I go into here and I tell this to give me where is it? Turntable animation. So if I do this, it looks really nice, and I don't have to render it using Maya because it's just on my screen. What that means is if we have OBS on our machine, we just tell it to record, and OBS is a free video recording software. It'll just grab your screen. So you let this spin around a couple times, and then you just tell this, okay, show me my base color. Show me my normal map. And then you have all of these, and we can just hide like those sections, or we can have that section on and we can mask that out. So I'm going to show you guys how we can do this. It saves you so much freaking time. And why I want you guys to get used to seeing this stuff is because when you get in the real world and you're trying to get a job, you have so much time to look for your job, and also you're probably going to not want to just look for the job. You're going to want to keep working on your portfolio at that same time. That whole thing about making new content for a portfolio, it can get really frustrating, because like the thing you want to do is the model. You don't want to have to constantly make demo reels. So there's quick ways that we can get stuff that looks really nice that an art director can look at and be like, oh wow, that's cool, without having to worry about spending 8 years to produce that stuff. So instead of me having Arnold render this thing out, telling this thing to go into a turntable and then just doing a video record of this from my screen saves me like so much time. So very, very easy thing that we can do. Let's see here. So I'll be showing you guys how to do this, because what we're going to do is our mythical weapon is we'll spin that thing around. Now, I said last week that that'll be due. So you'll have like on the 14th week, I want that in. So don't wait till the last second. So hopefully you get that in before that, because by the submission time, so by the end of that week, I want this turnaround submitted for us. So and I'm going to give you guys a whole breakdown of how After Effects works, how we can use these title screens to pop in and out, and how we can use like these blends to transition between one to another. So we'll fade these things out, and I also have this really cheesy thing I found that's basically just a twist. But because of the way that the twist occurs, it looks like it's flying out of the actual model. That was actually an accident. I just threw on an effect and I was like, holy cow, that's good. I'm done. I don't have to worry about anything else. So we're going to walk through all this stuff just so you can see. You don't have to do exactly like this. But I wanted to get you guys so you can see that. So that's going to be what that little project is at the end. It's not a huge thing. It usually, I would say, it might take you like 3 hours to produce the entire project, because it's really just putting together a bunch of videos. So, and this is going to be something you can use for all of your demos. So, okay, let's see here. Let's talk about this thing. Now, you guys have access to Mudbox, so that's good. If you need me to put the link to Mudbox in there, I can. It's just, if you same place we went to for Autodesk content, it's there. So if you sign into your Autodesk account, it's right there for you. What we're gonna do, I have the pommel that we were looking at last class. So I have Griffin's pommel. It always tells me that there's a problem in the mesh. I don't care. I'm gonna keep it. It always does this. It always says like these little spots are wrong. It doesn't matter. As a matter of fact, if I tell this display and then I want this to not give me errors, it's fine. And now that I have this, I can go over into my object list and I have my handle, which apparently I called it pommel when I output it, but the actual model was called handle. So because this is both an Autodesk program, objects that are named and output as FBXs, it still remembers the names of the pieces that are in there. So it's really cool that they talk to each other. It's just not as cool as ZBrush, but I will show you how to make it get the same effect that we were just looking at in that last video. So I had this handle selected, and if I tap the W key gives me wireframe. And so this is what that wireframe was. Again, if I hold down the Shift and D, level 1 new. So the trick is to give myself enough so that way I can get those cracks in there without going too far that my computer starts to question its existence, right? So I've got this really high. First thing you're going to encounter, actually second thing. First thing is the little red dots that'll show up all the time in Mudbox, and we just tell it to hush its mouth. Just stop giving me them errors. So display, errors, they're gone. Now we're stuck with a yellow model. It's really annoying. So we're inside the object list. We have that selected. I'm gonna click on like perspective or just scene, and it goes away. So I have now this brown object because Mudbox is trying to make it seem like this fancy clay, but it doesn't look as cool as ZBrush ever, you know, like, and they haven't really updated Mudbox like that much at all for a long time. Fierce debates, by the way, with my father and myself, because my father was a 3D Studio Max man, and I'm a Maya guy, and he's a Mudbox guy, and I'm a ZBrush guy, and like anytime we get around that dinner table, just fights happening about 3D content creation software. Not fights, but heated debates sometimes. Guess who won? Guess who's teaching stuff in class now? So, well, he retired. So this looks like garbage because it's like this this weird color that I probably wouldn't want to look at. So if you go over in material presets, now maybe that's actually a positive thing, is like Mudbox doesn't have a lot in here. Like as you notice, there's only like 4 menus in that. So in some ways that's better for us to not lose our mind. But I can go in and kind of just select some different materials here just so I can see it better when I'm working. And I like to kind of use something with a little bit of specularity on it. I'm going to tap W so I make the wireframe go away. And now I'm left with this. Here's what we're going to do. And I might need to share these with you. I think you can download these alphas that I gave you guys. So there was a bunch of alphas that was provided. And that's basically what I'm going to be referencing from the last video I shared in the announcements section on Tuesday. So there's these brushes here, and we have paint tools as well. So if you want to paint directly on this model, that actually may be a really nice way to work because you're working in 3D. I'll have to make another video on that so you guys can see how we can output that part. But for the model right now, what I want to do is use my sculpt tool. And I have obviously a Wacom tablet here. You guys will, the amount of times in the lab when I see someone using their mouse and like I just stop functioning for a little bit, and then I run away, and I come back with some tissues because I've been crying for a long time. But yeah, there's reasons why like these things cost money is because they're smart. Now maybe one day someone will design a pressure sensitive mouse. That would be amazing if we can actually, you know, get that same effect, but it doesn't exist yet. Maybe we can all make money on that. That would be a smart move. I'd invest. So I had this thing, I have the sculpt on, I have my Wacom pen, it's ready to go. And then I need to go into my stencil tool. And your stencil tool is basically a tool where you can load in new stencils. So I'm going to add a stencil. And I have these thumbnails. So this is from the thing I was sharing with you guys on Tuesday. The link's in the description. I just said something I told myself that would never be part of my my thing. Links in the description. Please give a big thumbs up. Links in the description. What's up, guys? You know, like that type of stuff from every YouTuber. It's sad. I'm going to use some of these things like this one right here. I'm going to hit open, and it pulled it in right here. Now, this is a 512 by 512 stencil. And it behaves similar to your stencil. You'll notice it says S and middle mouse button is a way to move it. So if I use S on my keyboard, middle mouse button, I can move this thing. I can rotate it with S and left mouse button. And I can scale it with S and right mouse button. So now this is attached to the camera. So I can position this thing how I want. So maybe I'm going to go something like this. And now I need to go and just make sure I'm using my sculpt tool. So I'm going to click back on sculpt. It's still here. And if I use this, I have it on invert function. I also have it on a strength of 0.1. By default, it's like a strength of like 25 or something. And you just like, it blows through that model like so bad. So we don't want that. So I have this as a strength of 0.1. The size, you can adjust that depending on how big you want that to be, holding down the B key. And I'm just going to kind of trace around this. And I'll keep going. Now, the one thing I will give Mudbox, and you'll notice I'm not messing up the sides because this is just a stencil. So this is the best part, like for Griffin's model, he busted his butt to make sure that this thing had a certain shape to it. I'm not, because I have a stencil here, I'm not in danger of modifying the size of that cage, so to speak. So that way you're not going to have like all these UVs and vertices of the outside, the silhouette getting messed up for you. So it's a really easy way to work this thing up. Let's check out the other side. It didn't blow through the other side. So this is a nice part for you. You don't need to worry about having this really weird thing happening on this object. Now, let's see. I'm going to use another stencil. Almost said stencil. Use another stencil. Go in here, add stencil. And I just want to use some variation on this. So I'm going to click on this next one here. Less is more, so we want to get this so it's nice and tight probably on this one, because that's a really big stencil. Maybe I'll continue that over to here. And again, it's just tracing around some of these edges. And you can make your own stencils if you wanted to do that too, but I'm just cheating. And this is the right way to cheat, right? So we're not having to worry about doing all these little tiny things. I'm gonna use another one. Okay, I used those. Let's grab this one now. And I'm gonna S. Oop, that's D. S. And again, the controls are different, but luckily it's just right here for us. We know exactly the thing that we're trying to do. I just referenced in the same exact stencil, so that's cool. That one. cool. And the challenge is just taking your time to find a spot that you think it could most match up. And then again, just going over this. And because it's got pressure sensitivity, the more we push, the deeper that goes and the crisper those edges get for us. So very fast ways. And again, like Mudbox is kind of like Voldemort. You don't usually say it anymore, but it's still working for us. It does give us quite a bit. And let me zoom out and let me hide the stencil with Q. Look at that. This is getting there. You know, there's quite a bit of stuff on this thing. So what's really nice too is that when we have this, we can paint in those details. We can take this when we bake it. You'll have your ambient occlusion bake, and we can use that to paint the inside areas of this. And then going around the other side, it's the same thing. If we need to connect or clean up where these edges are, again, we can add back that stencil. And I'll go somewhere like around here. I'm going to rotate it. So S and there. I'm going to paint that one now. I'll go back around here some more. And hopefully this is like, I know that must have been like I took you to the pet store and promised you that we're going to get a puppy, but we went home with just like a stuffed animal. And it was like, that must have been kind of the same equation of how that felt when you tried to load those brushes. So this hopefully is, you know, a way to get that back, that feeling. So we got that there. But the best part with this whole technique here is that you will have, and I think this happened because this needs some more resolution. So I can res that up. And if I end up, if I back this up, this one last, I don't like that one. Okay, so I'm going to res that up 2 more times. That's going to be pretty intense for the amount of polygons, but Mudbox should be able to handle that because we're only doing one object at a time. We're not making this massive scene. So there we go. Hit the Q key to look at what I got. I don't like what I just did right there, but there we go. Hopefully this is a good space for you to get that look that you wanted. Now there is a way to get the hammered look to this as well. There's like foamy, and we can use a stencil of I don't know why there's so many like elephant skins in here. It's a bit weird. Maybe they're not all elephants. There's a lot of skin though. Like it's kind of weird to see that much skin for stencils. You know what? Maybe I can find hammered stencil. Can you guys hear the fire alarm? No? Okay. It's just in my head. Alpha. I got up at a normal time, I think. I just have a lot of fun things I'm juggling right now. Let's see. Hammered metal stencil. Or no, alpha. Alpha. There we go. There we go. I like this. I'm going to use it. So, oh, it's on Turbo Squid. Somebody might want me to buy it. Oh, okay. There you go. Because I just put this on my desktop and no one needs to know that. So, okay. And I put this in here. It's a stencil. You know, look at that and be like, oh, I noticed what that hammered metal. Don't tell anyone. All right. I'm going to add this stencil. I'm sure that artist that made that he hates me now. I don't care. Oh, that's my kid holding my other kid. I don't know why that's on my desktop. All right. No, I just sneaked these in here. Just oh, look at this. How'd that get in there? No, I don't know why that was in there. Where is that stencil I just downloaded? Well, that's fun. I did like the worst thing possible. I just downloaded it and threw it somewhere that I'll never figure it out. I put it on the desktop, and now we can... Sure you guys can't hear that, that fire alarm? It's terrible. It's just the sound of like a vacuum cleaner. Like that stays at the same pitch for like 15 minutes. It's getting louder, I feel. Oh, there it goes. It's getting quieter. Where is my damn hammered metal? Oh no. Okay, that's okay. We're gonna go into Photoshop and make this work. So it was a JFIF file. I don't know really what that extension is, but Photoshop will fix it so we can pirate away with a hammered stencil. So another thing too is I did this first with the cracks. You probably want to do the hammer first and then the cracks, but I'm just trying to give you guys some just some quick little things here. So I copy this in, and I'm gonna actually turn this into a grayscale, discard it, and what's my levels here? So I'm gonna go into my levels, and it's a bit intense, so I'm gonna try and flatten that down a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna save it, save as, and of course, oh, I hate this new method, JPEG, because that's fine for now. All right, so we got this thing hammered alpha. All right, so it's black and white, it's ready to go. I'm gonna bring this in, add a stencil, and desktop. Okay, there it is. Now again, let me go over here so we can see this. Probably don't want this to be massive, so I'm going to scale it by using the S key and the right button. We'll go right here. And we could also use stamp for this. So either of these, that was not what humans should see. 0.01. Okay. I'm going to increase my brush size. Just going across this. Now the invert function is on, so let's back up and try that with that off. There we go. Now I don't want to get too close to those edges. If we actually go into Photoshop, we can blur those edges out, and I'm sure there's a better alpha that we might be able to find on this. So slowly going through and just clicking through this to give some texture to it. So again, these highlights are maybe a bit too blown out on that, but if I just show kind of where I'm getting on that, there's a little bit of surface detail on here that might be interesting. Now, I might even have this in here. Because I want to make sure you guys have those alphas. So that is provided in the last exercise, or the last upload that I gave you guys in the link to download it. But I might have an alpha already in here. Of hammered metal. Just trying to find it. And you'll notice that a lot of these alphas, they always fade out around the edge. And that's because you don't want what you just kind of saw. There was a little bit too much of a, like that might be good, splotchy. The edges can have like a hard edge if we have it white on there. So we don't want that. There's cracks. I'll zip this and give you guys this. I don't know where I got these from. I think it came with ZBrush, but maybe you guys don't have that, and not like you could even use it in ZBrush, so we can use it in Mudbox. I'm gonna try to load in where did it go? This one, the splotchy. So I'm gonna use stamp this time. I'm gonna go in to add stamp. Alphas. And there was JPEG splotchy. Okay. So let me grab that. It's going to be always loading somewhere that you don't see it. So it's on that end. So I have this here. It's set on stamp. If I start to paint, right now what it's doing is it's just painting with that. It's not actually making it splotchy yet. So if I use this, I'm going to tell this to space out a lot more. And I want it to randomize the rotation and the scale. And I want this to be with a strength that actually you can see. So let's like 2.5 or yeah, 2. That's too much. So 0.1 again. Let's see what this does. There we go. So again, being a human, we're gonna increase our size and we're gonna slowly pull in this tool. So the stamp, again, it's the same idea where we're using an alpha, but this time with this, it's giving us that same repeating image. I think ZBrush, you guys had probably some stamps that are in there. I don't like the strength is just a little bit too low still. So again, I think this is the hardest part, is just figuring out how to get the look that you're trying to go for. And again, I'm constantly, like, I'm touching it and then looking at what I did and then undoing or making adjustments. So if it doesn't do exactly what I want, I can invert that too. And there we go. So the big thing too, this stamp will give us a little bit of a our silhouette is going to be modified with the stamp versus the stencil. The stencil's just going to carve into something. The silhouette will change a little. You can see that we're already breaking silhouette right here. Not a big deal. This can be easily updated for our model. And maybe this isn't the exact stamp you want to use. There's a lot of different ones that we can use here. I'm going to look after our class. So I just saw right after my my intro class, I saw the update that Bella said that, like, you know, you'll see that the stamps don't work for ZBrush. So this was sort of like I tried to get something together really quick. I'm gonna see if I can get some hammered metal going for you in Mudbox. I just need to do some exploration, but you can see, look at the surface. I'm actually getting quite a bit of cool stuff on here. And so if ZBrush won't do that for you, not a big deal. We'll go through and we'll tweak this and we'll make sure that it happens. No. Yeah, what happened? Is it? Yeah. Okay. And so it's like literally designed for that. So the alphas too, like the like the cracked and all that stuff, did that not load? Try that, and then, you know, if that doesn't work, again, I know that we just, oh crap, where did that go? I know that we just went through and you worked on stuff in ZBrush, but there's no reason why we can't, like, get a high-res output and get the rest of this done doing this. So if we need to do that, that's one thing I haven't talked about yet. I have this, and I can go into File, and then Export, let's see, Selection. So I want to select my handle, File, Export Selection. Again, it's an FBX. Save that. And you can get, or an OBJ. You can go from this and bring it back into ZBrush, and then just, you know, check where that is, decimate it, and you'd be all set on that. So again, let me write this down. I want to see if I can find a hammered metal, but this should get you, after all of that, the adjusting of the ladder and then having the ladder fly apart on live TV. I think that we can get there with this. And this applies to everybody with what you're trying to do. Just like right away, again, less is more sometimes. We don't want to make it super noisy, but there's already a story going on this, right? Like there's a history on this. So some of it doesn't make sense for the history because it just kind of has cracks that are leading nowhere. But we got a lot going on with this just from a, just taking a little bit of spots on that. And hopefully with that buffer, actually, let's see, what week are we in? I want to make sure we have this project done, not the week of, let's say, because I just realized for us doing a rendered turnaround, that would be nuts. If we have this done on the week that we get back from Thanksgiving break, that will be perfect for us. Now let me just see, I'm trying to find our stuff in here and weekly content and due dates. Okay, yeah, if we can get this in by the 30th, so that would be the new due date. That gives us this week where I'll talk about, and we'll talk about After Effects before that time even, but this just gives us a little bit of buffer time. Now this is like the final, it needs to be done, so that way we can really render this stuff out, but that gives us definitely enough time to work on that, if you think that would be something that'll work there. Let's talk monsters. And I saw something that was really cool. Okay, hold on. Let's see. We got Amber's got update here too. Okay, so that's starting to make more sense there. Okay, so you're... Uh-huh. Yeah, let's see what we got going. Okay. And this is like the crystal thing? Okay. Let's see what we got. Looks like there's like a cell shade on there almost. On that. I'm just... Let's see. Okay. Good. I think the buckles, that makes sense. And just make the little stick on the... What do you call it? The... I don't even know what you call that thing on the belt. Put the little pointy part. Yeah. I'm gonna... Yeah. Okay. So all that we needed to do on this, it was set to soften. So harden. And now you got this. So that's good. Now if we want the rest of this to look faceted, that would be taking the whole thing and do harden edge. And can I do that? Mesh display harden edge. So you can start to have like this look. And if I took all of this except for this outer edge, I'm going to go into bevel. And you can start to see like there's definitely that actually, can I bevel even further with my depth? Oh, yeah, I can get it at least to there. And then I'm gonna again tell this thing mesh display harden edge, and we can start to sort of see yeah, some of it works really well. The middle part probably I'd merge to the, like all these guys I'd make centered, But yeah, I think that could work out for you on how, and I don't know if the bevel did anything for you, but it's mainly about those edges, like having it so if this is faceted, and maybe even breaking, like exaggerating the distances on some of these and offsetting some of them, it can help to make that feel a little bit more like an organic, like ice or crystal or something like that. I think they would help out. Yeah, that should help. And then yeah, this is all looking good. Yeah, I think you're in a good position for modeling that out for the low res too, so that would be good. So yeah, keep going on that. Yeah, and do some. What's that? Same thing. You're gonna have. Whoop, that's not Maya. One thing, if you have Maya and Mudbox open, the icons look almost directly, by the way, so it's the same. So it's frustrating when those go, because you might click on the wrong one. Right here and here, if I go in and get closer, there's probably, I'm gonna leave this alone. I'm gonna go into Mesh Display Harden, and then I'm gonna also check out my X-ray. So it's going to be this one, Mesh Display Harden. And then let's turn X-ray off. Oh, it's still there. What is that? All right, I'm going to take drastic measures. Just going to pull that down. Yeah, it's just lighting. So that's not a big deal. It's basically because of the way that is set up, you're getting like just this really strange artifact that's on there. If you take this edge right here, and it doesn't need to go all the way down, it can start here. I'm gonna hit bevel, and I'm gonna add some segments to it, and it should. It got rid of that, yeah. So that kind of made that go away. Now, because you have everything set up where they're all quadded out, we could go in to a multi-cut and like just go in to like this. It went all the way around, so I'm going to grab only to about here. Kind of pull this maybe out if it, now it doesn't want to contour on that. Okay. I was just going to say there might be a way to get it so, like mainly just getting it so these pieces break away from the central form a little bit, so that way you have a like a congruous edge on there. And if I go actually up a little bit higher again and do that, I'm going to pull this out as well. Now I kind of have that lip, so it's really accentuating this ridge, so that we have no danger of like losing the definition of this. I don't think it's going to be too big of a deal. We should be able to get the what do you call it, the when this bakes, like if I take this thing right now, and yeah, that you can see some strange stuff on here, so I try to make it so this is evened out a little bit more, so we don't have like that shape, because obviously smooth preview doesn't do what we need it to do for that. But if I use my ambient occlusion, you can sort of see the ridges a little bit better, which is helpful. And when we bake that, what I would do is, if we're not still seeing enough of the contrast between those wings, we can take your ambient occlusion bake and actually increase the contrast in Photoshop, and it'll make that so they're more easily visible on that. So yeah, it's definitely getting there. So the bakes, yeah, that'll be the next phase on that for this. So that's the fun part. It's this one, UV unwrapping on this guy, not going to be that big of a deal, because you have this. So you have like this shape that we can do a camera based UV unwrap on it, and it's going to be something where if you did like quad draw, or even if you started with a cube And if I take half of this cube, make it go away, and I start from, like, the big thing is going to be your edges. Maintaining those edges on this is going to be very, very important. But let's say that I have something like this, and again, this is very general, but if this is right here, and whoop, this, so I would just go through and whoop, edge, extrude, and then grabbing the bottom, whoop, pulling that out, pulling this over, and then, yeah, just slowly creating the same thing without having to have every single individual piece. You can see how this can be quickly generated over again, but in low res format. So we have maybe something like that, and then from here, it's like once that whole thing is done, and the big part is you're gonna want to make sure that this thing is following this curve, because that curve will keep separate. But we can keep this going throughout all of this on a low poly path, and just keep on building that out, and those normals should come out pretty easily for you. Again, camera based, moving separate. Oh, this piece, because on this, I don't want to bake this information into that part, because it's definitely a noticeable ledge here. So I would end up taking these and then having it something like that, just to have the definition there. And if I take this, pull down, squish that, and then I connect those two, you've already got like quite a bit of this model started, you know. So yeah, that's and then half of this will just mirror over. So if I mirror that over onto the X, and I want it to go on the positive, and turn off cut geometry, you know, it's gonna merge some stuff that I don't want it to merge right there, but that's gonna be pretty quick way to get both of those. Yeah, this is just the pre-planning part. Yeah, that's gonna be the big thing. The big thing too, and again, it's making sure that these hold the shape that you want on this. So make sure that this thing is as cleaned up as possible before you get into that section. Okay, let's see. Monsters. And okay, that is creepy. So what I would do with this guy, what did I just disconnect? Microphone still recording. I would take this little guy and to get this to where's my layers? There we go. Okay. Did you guys see the new Buzz Lightyear trailer, by the way? There's a new movie coming out, and it's called Lightyear, and it's like apparently like the origin story of why Buzz Lightyear is an action figure, and yet it takes place in the future, which makes me wonder if the theory, like the fan theory that all the movies are connected, and there's like this, like Boo is actually in Braid, and she's like the witch, and it's because magic exists and all that stuff. So Buzz Lightyear, or Bud Lightyear, is an actual movie about this astronaut that goes off and explores and all this stuff. So And so it looks, I'm confused. I don't know why. Like, I would have loved another story about toys, but it's actually like a real world like astronaut. So it's interesting. It'd be interesting. It's not. It's stop motion, so it's not stop motion. No, yeah, they're but Chris Evans or whatever is the voice of Buzz, which bothers me too, because that's not who does the voice of him. So big thing here, we're not gonna be able to have transparency for a 3D printed model. So like there's a window that's being like referenced here. If we just have it, so I don't know, maybe it's like a little I'm using like the biggest brush that's ever existed here. And he's got like little, I don't know, controls. I would increase the size of him, so we just get a little better, like we can see him because he was kind of deep in there. So go shallow on this. Don't make it so it's super deep. And that's why I kind of up from the side. If we were looking from the side, you'd actually have him be, so if this is his whole body right there, and that's that cavity, he'd be sitting there like from like right here. That way we just don't lose that, because it's going to be so small. This guy will be so small that it'll be almost impossible to see it. So make him a little bit bigger so we don't lose that that control on that. And again, we don't have the ability to print like transparent material, so that window wouldn't exist. So if we printed that, we would actually, all we'd see is like this flat like sphere that's right there. So or not sphere, but this opaque sphere that would be right there. Oh, okay, you're just showing lighting. Okay, I was gonna say, hold on. But yeah, that makes sense then. Let me see if I can repaste that one back in. What would the bottom part of his body be? Is he sitting in guts, or is he sitting just in a cavity? Yeah. So if we're trying to allude that he's the puppet master, right? So like that's kind of the concept, right? He's driving this thing. Oh, that's terrible. He's so he lives his whole life like flying apart. Yeah. Okay. Oh. Okay. Yeah. That was, I cannot even imagine that as a torture. I mean, that's obviously a, you've got to be a really evil human being to put a rat on someone and then cover it, so the only way they can get out is by eating their way out. It's what amazing things history has done to other people. Okay, so that's why. Yeah. So yeah, we learned things, right? That was an actual form of torture. Man, oh man. Yeah, it's cool. I think if you do have that, maybe having that context there of, man, I'm not even remotely drawing a 3D object here. You know, the bucket here on the side somewhere, maybe that'll just help to give us like, oh crap, that was what they did to him. And then think about your edges too. Make them more nibbly. You know, like they got the little edges on that are a little grosser, you know, so that way it kind of just gives a little bit more more context of how that's going. So okay, you know, and maybe it's two rats and maybe there's one popping through the head too. It like ate his way all the way up. But no, I think the bucket and just some rougher edges on that can help allude to what our buddy here just went through. So okay, cool. And we're just in time for Halloween, so we're good. And we got Bella, you were showing your most updated version. Awesome. Good stuff. And so you're saying you're not even at the point where... Okay. I put a reference to of a skeleton dance or a pumpkin dance. So this good. Good. Is this okay? Shutterstock has that. I didn't know they had those on there. Yep, that's exactly the run though. That's helpful. Yeah. I mean, I'm no gorillaologist or whatever, so I don't really know what, like, lumbering, yeah. And so it's, maybe it's a gorilla charge? Yeah, so gorilla charge. There you go. It looks like, and that looks weird because he looks like he's just dancing. And this guy... I don't even know. They're like just in the middle. Oh, that's horrifying though. So that might be because we know now with this, with that backwards faced, or that backwards leg, kind of helps with it. They always look when they're angry. They have their hands on their chest like they're. And he's dancing. That'd be a cool GIF just to make him look like he's dancing around. Man, they're horrifying though when they get angry. I would look at like the one that you had there is excellent, and then the idea of, is there any other? I love that there's like how to survive a girl. Like, does this happen for people? Like, are they just on safaris that much that this has to be a discussion? Yeah. I think it's horrifying because, like, in reality, it looks like they're almost... Like, you can't even tell that they're going to do it. And it almost looks like they're playing, but you know that if they get close to you, they're going to rip, like, your arm from your socket and use it as a bat. So, it's kind of cool. Have you seen Peter Jackson's King Kong? I think that's is that... Oh no, that's... Yeah, that was not King Kong fight so there's the newer one too, but there's King Kong, Peter Jackson. So there's a part where he fights a T-Rex. I guess they're calling these bosses because that's the way our society now is. Everything is like a Mortal Kombat scenario. Oh, this is from the game. Damn. Okay. King Kong. It's T-Rex. And I don't think this is... Yes, it is. Okay. And let me